Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtime with Downstar, episode 211, and today we are here with Ravi Tomerlin of We Don't Lift Racing. Is it We Don't Lift Racing or We Don't Lift?
It's technically WDL Racing LLC.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We're going to get technical with it.
Yeah, we got to get technical because we are actually a conglomerate. So there are more portions of us than just simple. But yeah, the actual business is WDL Racing LLC. Everybody knows us by We Don't Lift because that's the safety gear portion of it, the major side of it.
Got you, bro. Hey, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Thanks for getting us on here with it, man. I know for a while we've had a lot of people say, hey, get on with Frank. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, dude. We've been getting a lot of requests, and finally happened. RC, he's working with us now, and he's been wanting me to have you on the show for a while, and he speaks very highly of you, man.
Well, as you are very well aware, RC is definitely, I would say top 3 fucking Honda guys in America. I was going to say top 5%. I'm like, nah, it's narrower than that. RC's the man when it comes to building a amazing build quality level Honda, and I was really fortunate enough to, obviously, as you probably know, work with RC for about a year. Worked with him over at the garage before he started doing other stuff in his life. But it's a really good time. It's a good time to know him. I've known him for about 15 or 16 years, I want to say roughly, and we used to actually butt heads pretty badly, but through a couple of years we actually started becoming friends and really respecting what each other did because we're very opposite polarized spectrum. Like, he does art, in my opinion. He does amazing artwork, where I'm the opposite. I'm all about function. Everything's function. Very little form, as I've been known for. Function's always trumping form on my end. But we try to, as I've gotten a little further into this whole thing, we try to bring a little more form into it.
Yeah. Now, working with RC at the shop, did you start to understand the form a little more?
It wasn't so much that I understand it. It was more of an appreciation for it, because most of the time, as I'm sure you're aware, you go to like places like Hot Import Nights and a lot of those shows, and you're like, crap. It's just like the standards have dropped so much. Some sense, like, I would say probably the late 2000s or early 2010s. I felt that was like the epitome of high standard builds. People were putting big dollars and big money into it, and really like perfecting their art. Versus, I'm sure these days it's a little less of that. Let's just put it that way. I don't feel that folks are doing it as much, and for me, it was people weren't setting the bar high anymore. So RC for me elevated that bar so high. I mean, how many week fests in a row did that boy win? It was like 4 or 5.
All of them, probably.
I think everything but Japan. He couldn't go to Japan, but like everyone he attended, like with Jay's car or Mike's car, and there was nothing. I still to this day cannot think of a single car that I find as an outsider, as a third party, find comparable to either of those 2 builds, let alone all the other builds he's done in his life,
Yeah, no,
so,
definitely.
For me, working at RC's, for me, it was just showing me what level of perfection could be attained in an imported business. Very similar to like the hot rod industry. The hot rod industry is notorious for having just flawless cars, and that had never really hit the import world until RC came on the scene,
Yeah, no, definitely. So it seems like there's a couple different golden eras. It was about maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. And then it does seem around that time, like you were saying, maybe 2008 to 2010, 11, around that kind of window right there, that the community was just on fire and everybody was just pushing to go further and further.
Right.
And then I don't know what happened, dude. What do you think it was that changed the temperature?
Oh, man. That's a loaded question. I would say there's definitely a lot of things. I mean, I'm probably like you. I remember like waiting for Super Street to come out, like literally waiting for that print to come out, and how getting into print, for instance, was a mile marker, and it was a big achievement, and a lot of people were working towards that, and the standards were so high. But if you want to be like real about it, I think the freaking internet killed it. Like, Let's be honest. Like, as soon as we went away from forums and went to the more open public format that Facebook offers and Instagram offers, since now everybody's Instagram hero, and you can literally, like, all the filters and all the editing and all this crap, like, you can take the piles of junk and flaunt it as your project car, and I just don't think the pride is there anymore. And don't get me wrong, everybody should have the right to do whatever the heck they want and enjoy it in every way they want, and you shouldn't build a car to impress anyone else. But there's a certain point where I feel there's a line drawn where quality is dropping, you know what I mean? Where it's not just, it's your build. It's like, no, you're just pumping out crap, and you expect us to appreciate it because you appreciate it. I know it's a fine line. It's a tough spot, as an enthusiast. I like to let everybody do what they want to do and respect what they do. And I think the big piece for me is just understanding that just because I'm going to respect you as a person for what you're doing doesn't mean I'm going to give a crap about your car and appreciate what you have or have not done to it, and that's okay. That's what people have to understand. It's okay if somebody doesn't like your stuff. But I really think all of that came through the internet, just completely revolutionizing how we are able to show what we're doing, show our hobbies, show our interests, And it's not just automotive. That's across the board, Like everybody's an Instagram model now. That wasn't a thing 15 years ago, So I think the internet really has changed the landscape. It's moved it away from things like print, because you couldn't get into Super Street with a shitbox. Like, you can't do it. Like, their standards as a magazine, or like D-Sport or any of those companies, Option, they had a certain standard, a certain style they were looking for that they wanted to promote. Losing our print magazines one by one. I think D-Sport's the only one left.
It's D-Sport, and then there's still S3 magazine that's out.
S3 still out. Yeah. So losing it. When Super Street announced their closure, I was like, holy moly! And I was fortunate enough to jump in a couple of issues of magazines, but then they all closed the next year, and I was like, man, that was a lifelong dream, and now that's just gone for a lot of people. So there's no longer a high bar anymore to develop the kind of cars that RC's does. I mean, like, literally, people like RC changed the culture based on people wanted to beat him.
Yeah.
They wanted to build a better product than him. He was the golden standard. And that happens across the board. It's not just show cars like RC's building. We're talking about race cars. The same thing happens in race cars. I mean, granted, it's more of a money issue for most race cars, and to build a race car like for instance, like Life Motorsports has their GTR out there. I can't even begin to imagine how much money is behind that program. It's an amazing program. The car is incredible. It can run lap times faster than 1,000cc bikes around COTA. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. But there's a little bit different barrier of entry and mentality, but it definitely crosses from discipline to discipline, I'd say, with automotive stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think the internet, gaining popularity as far as, social media wise, and older generations accepting the internet, which they really didn't that much before, from like 2000 to 2010. I could never see my dad sending an email, but it was always like when the social media started popping up, is like the Facebook and then Instagram. And I can remember when Instagram came along, it was like, wow, this is a little different, man. You get like a weird feeling when you start getting these likes and these comments. And I think
it's euphoric for a lot of people, man.
Yeah, I think all of us, we've been going through the euphoric feeling for the last 8-10 years. And I think that right now, at least how I kind of see it, it's starting to wear off, and we're looking back and looking at this last few years and thinking like, man, I don't know if this was the right decision we should have made. I don't know if this is the right values that we should be holding people up to. I don't know if everybody should be getting a trophy or be getting recognition for something that they're doing that, you could tell is not that good, but it just looks good in pictures. Like I feel like the veil is getting lifted off.
Yeah, the all-inclusive mentality is definitely an interesting one that, again, has generated over the last 15 years or so. And the all-inclusiveness is great in some manners, obviously, because nothing's black and white in life. Nothing is like, obviously, with all the politics that are going around in America right now regarding, all the racial issues, and there's so much going on. And yeah, there are definitely instances where we need to be all-inclusive, man. It shouldn't matter who you are, where you're from, what creed you are. We should, as a human, as humans, we should accept that, like, unconditionally. You're a human, I'm a human. I have no reason to hate you, and there's really no time for that these days, Mm-hmm. But on the converse things of it, I think by doing the all-inclusive with things like competition, for instance, it's competition for a reason. It's not sacred or anything. It's not held sacred, but it's definitely a way to measure. Yeah. That's literally what the competitions are for, is a way to measure something. But if your measurement standard starts to drop, and then your trophy levels go up and all that kind of thing, or everybody gets a trophy, then what's the value in winning now?
Yeah.
What's the value in the competition? It seems to deflate it or dilute it, at least, and that I think that's happened across quite a bit of the car industry. I don't like to pick on them. I love the drift industry, but that's one of the hardest hit ones by low standards. You know, like everybody's got a drift missile, and I always point out, is that your only car? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, it's not. That's your daily, dude. You know, think about it that way. Like a drift missile came around. A drift missile, that term literally came around from just having a second car that you didn't care about. You had your nice drift car over here, and you had your drift missile that you went and thrashed and beat on real hard, and you had your nice drift car over here. But that's not that term is being used completely differently now. It's being used as, I built a piece of crap. I'm going to do whatever I want with it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, do you think too many people are getting into the community that don't understand the sacredness of it, and then the foundation that was set by people before us?
I never actually quite thought of it that way, and that's a great way to look at it, to agree. And I think, and again, this thing, automotive should be inclusive. We should bring as many people in as possible, and change is sometimes good. Like, you know, like let's go back to like late 90s, early 2000s. Man, I don't like body kits, man. I don't like those Bomex and Wing West stuff. That's not for me.
Yeah.
If I see one on the road, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt anything, you know. But as change can happen, we went to like that OEM, like JDM phase, you know, and that's still pretty popular. And I personally love it. Does that mean everybody has to love it? No, not at all. 100%. I guess it gets a little weird though when places that used to, I don't know, focus on one aspect or another of something, and then when they change and it kind of takes one group and makes them an outcast, I think that's when you start having problems. Like I remember a long time ago, I went to a hot import nights, and and this was when body kits were actually still popular. I had my Mugen Integra. It was all Mugen body parts on it, painted beautifully, turbocharged, full race turbo kit, kind of sleeperish on the outside, racing stance, because I used it for track days, so it was, you know, it wasn't slammed or anything like that. And I remember losing a competition to the most riced out Eclipse I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it was hot import nights, and that's what happens there. That kind of car is more popular, had big speakers and all that. And so it doesn't necessarily mean my build was crap or that their build was the best. It just means that I was in the wrong space for what I was doing.
All right, guys, we got to take a quick break for our sponsor, Heel Toe Auto. An important part in buying Honda parts online is making sure that you can trust the company that you're dealing with to get you the right parts reliably. You spend a lot of money and a lot of time researching your build. The last thing that you want to do is send cash to a website where you may never see it again, or worse yet, never see the parts. With Heel Toe Automotive, an 18-year history and track record is part of the deal. Heel Toe brings you deep industry connections, professional part recommendations, alternative ideas when your parts aren't available, and they'll even contact you when the stuff doesn't look right before they ship it. That's a huge one, guys. That happens a lot, and you get the parts, you're ready to get them installed, and you can take the day off even. I've had that happen before, and you go to install the parts and you're just like, yo, this doesn't fit. That usually happens at AutoZone, but it doesn't happen at Heel Toe. Because if the order doesn't look right, they'll say, hey, Frank, you ordered the wrong stuff. And with Heel Toe's unique checkout, it allows you to select a deadline to receive your parts to make sure that you can get them on time for your project plans. So before you take that day off, make sure you enter it in Heel Toe and let them know, hey, I'm going to be off December 12th. I need the parts this day, and they'll make it happen. You can buy parts anywhere online, but Heel Toe knows what truly matters to an enthusiast: professionalism, swiftness, and accuracy. Heel Toe is in your corner. Visit Heel Toe at heeltoeauto.com, or you can call them or text them at 949-295-1668. Guys, Heel Toe has been the #1 supporter of Downtime with Downstar, so please text them right now and tell them thank you for supporting us. 949-295-1668, or you can shoot them a DM on Instagram at Heel Toe Automotive. Now back to the show.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. And the shows that you're going to, the judge that's actually judging it, that's the guy whose opinion matters at that time. That's his job. That's what he's doing. He's picking the car to win. So that's one thing that's always bugged me as well. Is like, you know, I spent so much time building this car, and now I'm leaving it up to this guy. Like, what has this guy done to be able to even look at my build and tell me what I did right, or tell me what I even did at all? Can you tell me what I did to this? And I've seen that happen so many times at shows, and I've even been like, hey man, can you just go judge this real quick, just because I know the owners of the show? And I'm like, yeah, I can, but like, I wasn't set up for this. I wasn't prepared for this. I haven't been looking around. I'm not ready for this right now. And
Right.
the people that have been working on their cars for the whole summer, it doesn't feel right that I'm just going to go to them and me, because I have a certain car that I like, a certain style. So if it's not that style, I'm not going to pick it.
Exactly. Like, I'm a poor judge to go judge at Honda Nights because they're all going to get freaking 1s and 2s. No one's
Yeah.
getting 10s. That's not because they're poor quality, though, technically. You know, like that.
Yeah.
They're poor quality in my eyes because I don't like that style.
Yeah.
But it can still be executed perfectly. And that's, like, whenever I go to car shoes, I try to keep an open mind and look for execution as opposed to style.
Yeah.
Style's subjective, execution's less subjective.
Definitely.
You know, you can tell when paint's done properly and versus when it's not. You can tell when body kits are installed with little fucking rivets, or if they're molded properly, or if they have at least riv nuts and nice hardware holding it in. You know, like, there's a huge difference in that. And even though I don't necessarily like the car visually, it doesn't appeal to me, I can appreciate the hard work that went into it and the detail level. And that's what I like about the show car world. Like I said, and that's what I always encourage my friends who are, you know, maybe getting a little too hard on someone's car. I'm like, well, look at it closer. Look at how they actually did it. Even though you don't like it, just make sure you actually look at it.
Yeah.
And give it a fair chance to not necessarily appeal to your style, but appeal to your appreciation of what the build was like, you know?
Yeah, I think definitely the competition aspect in our community has disappeared, man. There hasn't been any shows or any events that I thought that, this is one that I want to go to. I want to build a car for this.
Even SEMA, man. Shit.
Yeah.
SEMA's
Definitely
just like,
SEMA.
I'm sure you've been on those Facebook groups that are just showing off all the SEMA fails, and they're just like Wi-Fi drive shafts and all this crap, you know?
Yeah, and then you'll see guys that go to SEMA, like Rywire. When Rywire went out there with the Integra, and he set the bar, higher than most can even see. After that, everybody's goes, I'm gonna go to
Didn't he
SEMA.
take a Porsche out? No, Hogner took a Porsche out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, that one was
That
sick
thing's
too.
dope.
Yeah, but it's like, then everybody, I want to SEMA build. I want to SEMA build. I'm like, bro, do you even realize what Ryan did to this car? Like, I can't even comprehend building a car to that level to take it to SEMA.
Yeah.
But that's just everybody. I want to go to SEMA. I don't want to go to SEMA. And it kind of takes away from, even the meaning of SEMA. Even having a car at SEMA, now it doesn't have the same stigma as it did in the past.
Kind of like the whole super street, like, how we get into super street. That it's not longer a thing because you don't necessarily need super street anymore because you just post it online and get a billion freaking shares or whatever. It's tough. I don't want to feel sour towards the change in the community at all. I mean, like I said, I still love the community. I mean, I deal with quite a bit of modern cars now. Like a lot of our customers are actually the newer Subaru customers over here, as opposed to Hondas, which you'd never believe. Honda shop doing mostly Subarus now.
Yeah.
It's more consistent income.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, and most of the modern Subarus are going to be more of a sorry, I got somebody at the door.
No
there.
worries.
Most of the modern Subarus are more of stance builds. They're definitely more aesthetic type builds than they are performance builds. Issues with the power plant, all that good stuff. But I can definitely appreciate where they're able to go with just aesthetics alone. There's some really freaking cool 15 plus Subarus out there. They look awesome.
Yeah.
They're not fast, but they look awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'm optimistic though about the future, especially after this year. After 2020, everybody's just pretty much been shit on, and it just makes us appreciate what we had before. So I think events and shows and things like that are going to be so much more popping next year.
I think I've actually spent more time going to local little shows. I mean, I work freaking 6 to 7 days a week here, so I see cars and deal with cars all day, every day. So I usually don't go to many car shows anymore at all, any type. But I'd say this year I've gone to quite a few more of the small, just local meetups, and just checked out and talked with locals more than I ever have in the past, just because we haven't had shit to do in months.
Yeah, I know, man. So tell me about the shop, bro. How's everything been since COVID's been shut down?
Oh, 2 seconds, brother.
No
I think
worries.
I put it in the toolbox for the Scion. Yeah, it's in the toolbox. Okay. And he's good to go. Since the shutdown, in terms of shop, you said? I'm sorry.
The shop.
Yeah. So the shop, a lot of guys in the auto industry, and you may even reflect on this yourself, is it's been actually way busier than before.
Yeah.
We are up like, our retail slipped a bit, but our service side, our labor side went up like 90 to 100%. Like,
wow.
It went through the roof. We actually are more profitable now than we were prior to COVID.
Congrats, dude.
Don't know, man. Just freaking happened, and retail's still coming back. Like the last month's been okay, just because we started doing track days again, which my main retail is performance parts and track setup and all that. So like, I just had somebody banging on the door trying to get. I'm like, go out back, go talk to the guy in the back. But yeah, so that's been a big change. We've been able to expand quite a bit. We actually changed our business structure from a private sole prop to a corporation. We're actually multi-partner owned now and getting a little bit bigger. And
Sick.
we doubled our floor space. We're up to a 6,000 square foot building instead of we started. Believe it or not, a year and 3 months ago, I was in a 600 square foot building hustling. It was just me and the co-owner. We shared a desk. We shared a desk in a little 10 foot by 10 foot room, and then we had another 500 square foot of shop space out back.
Yeah.
And we hustled our way through a year and a half of that, and then we just ran out of space, man. I couldn't store anything in this place anymore. So we got into where we're at now, which was initially 2,000. Now we're up to 6,000, and we're already planning an exit from here in a couple of years.
Wow, dude! Congratulations, bro.
So, I mean, our fingers crossed, maybe 1 million this year, maybe.
I love it, man.
Yeah, so that's up almost 200% from last year.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Congrats.
so it's been pretty wild. Like I usually look tired, and I've got a lot more gray hair right on the back of my head now. And I'm sure there's a lot more people who don't like me than there used to be, but hey, that's part of the growing parts,
Why do you say that?
RC will probably tell you to reflect on that too. I'm definitely a bit of an asshole most of the time. I'm pretty easy to go with as long as you're straight with me. As soon as you start BSing with me and I know you're lying or something like that, man, I just total 180 or lose interest. Or if you're just trying to show off or something like that, man, I just right wing, I'm gone. My brain takes off and starts focusing on something else and starts just being a little bit dismissive. So I'm known for being a little bit dismissive sometimes. So,
What do you think the reasoning is for that?
Just been around too long, and I don't want to hear about your LSV tech that makes 300 wheel horsepower. That's NA. I just don't want to hear about it. I don't care. I know it's not possible. I just don't care. But if we still, when we were younger, that we were on the other side of the fence, and I'm sure there's guys who rolled their eyes at us when we used to talk, and it's fine. I just don't have the patience for it anymore.
Yeah.
I got too old for this crap, man.
I feel you, man. So tell me about the business. Did you start in 2015?
So it's kind of a carryover business. So this company officially started in 2015, but I've been doing this on and off many years. I've actually had a couple different companies before this. I think RC probably knows Shift Fast Performance, which is my first major company, which I launched in 2005.
Shift Fast.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually even now I see a sticker on a couple cars here and there with the old, like 20-year-old stickers that are just rotting in the sun. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, those are nasty. Take those off. But back then was when I was just getting into track day stuff. I still worked at a retailer. It was a secondary thing. There's another delivery guy trying to get in. Read the sign, bro. Go around back. Go around back. You got this. You got this? I don't know if he's going around back. Oh, well. Try it again.
You want to let him know real quick?
Yeah, I'll be right back, dude. Oh, wait. He's walking.
All right.
We good.
For sure, man. As you guys can see, Ravi is hustling right now.
I got this huge sign on the front door. This big old arrow that says "Closed, go around back," and everybody's ignoring it. And it's like bold. I put it over my open sign. Like, oh my god. Oh, this is the kind of fucking shit. So yeah, back in 2005, I used to go to track days a lot, and I started doing. I don't know if you remember Import Builders. You ever remember them?
No.
I don't think they're around anymore either, but I had developed Shift Fast Performance, and then on top of that was Import Builders Arizona, and we built basically race engines for Hondas. Nothing too crazy, nothing like we do now, obviously, but mainly just your typical internals and, to make sure everything's safe and spec properly so you can run them on the track and get lots of life out of them. So I did that until roughly 2008. I actually kind of predicted that 2007 collapse, and when the 2007 collapse was about to come in, I just pulled all my cards real quick. I actually sold my house and everything.
No shit.
Yeah, I ended up doing real well on my house when I sold it right before the crash, and I was able to take that and put it on another house and pay cash, because when the market crashed, I was able to get a house really cheap, but I had made a whole bunch of money on the house I sold before the crash. So that helped me out a lot, because that, for my path, being 22, 23, and not having any debt and owning a house, that was a huge piece for me. So I capitalized by accident. It wasn't like I wasn't reading the market per se. I just thought it was a good time to sell the house I was in because it was worth $100,000 more than I bought it from.
Gotcha.
Because I was in an area of Phoenix that was just skyrocketing. You know, just Ahwatukee. If anybody's in Arizona, I had a house in Ahwatukee. So I took that money and I invested in myself. You know, I started working on essentially doing training. I went to school for a couple things like business management. I spent a good chunk of time learning a ton about economics and business management on a micro scale and a macro scale. And I still worked retail. I worked for a long time in retail, kind of doing all this on the side still. And had an issue with cancer actually when I was with RCs. I still had cancer when I was with RC.
Wow.
2012 was when it started becoming an issue. And I actually got fired by my company because I was unable to. All my numbers were performing. They just simply did not want me around anymore because I was definitely abusing the system as best I could in the sense that I had a good assistant manager. If I needed an extra day off, I asked for it. Hey, could you fucking cover for me? I'm feeling like shit today. So he would, but the rules for our company stated we had to work 6 days a week. So if I only worked 4, things like that were driving him nuts, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they ousted me. I went and worked with RC then, and I learned a lot from RC. I learned a ton from RC, actually. Not so much about car builds, but about where I stood as a manager, because I'd been managing, 20 to 30 employees for the last 5 years, and then going down to just 2 employees with RC, and I think Jeff was the other guy I worked there, and learning how valuable employees can be and how specifically you have to hire. Like, you have to have the right people. Like, I already known this to a bit from my retail experience, but learning it from RC, as you know, RC is a pretty stubborn dude, man. Like, I love him to death, but he's one of the most stubborn dudes I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
So getting him to do anything that was something that I needed done was like herding cats, literally. And RC, I know you're going to watch this, and I love you, and you know it's true.
Wait, did you say herding cats?
Herding fucking cats. Getting RC to do something that wasn't on one of his cars, was tough.
I love that one.
Yeah, but through that experience of trying to assist RC with his company, I learned what I needed to do for myself. I actually learned that I had to build a company from the ground up with all my expectations in place and take everything I learned from my 12 years of retail experience and then from my 6 or 7 years of schooling and apply it all in one place. And it wasn't even a question of could it be successful. I knew it was going to be successful right off the bat. So technically end of 2015, I met my business partner, actually. We were just talking at the time. We hadn't really developed anything solid yet, but I knew I was going to do something, and I've been going to track days for 10 years now, and everybody's always asking me, where do you get stuff? Where do you get this? Where do you get that? Where can I get this? Where can I get that? So then I thought about it, and I was like, why aren't I? They're already asking me, why am I not the guy that they just get this stuff from,
Yeah.
And I looked around, and no one else in town really had any of this stuff, so you had to order it online. So I had about $500 to my name, man, at the time, and I just took all that money and I dumped it right into a wholesale account with a helmet vendor, and I bought 4 helmets. I owned four helmets. That's all. That's all I owned as a shop. That's all I owned. And I took them in my car out to the track, and I put a table up, and I put 4 helmets on the table, and I wanted to see if anybody would buy my 4 helmets, man. So they did. People bought these helmets. So I was selling these 4 helmets consistently. Every time I go out, I'd sell all 4 helmets, and I made money on them. So I would buy 8 helmets the next time, or 11 helmets, 15 helmets. And I was like, sweet, I've got a few helmets. And then I'm talking to my partner, like, well, how do we make this bigger? I'm like, well, we should get gloves, we should get shoes, and we should get visors, and we should get tire pressure gauges. Like, so we literally started, and I bought after saving up for a bit, I bought a $3,000 F-250, which I had for years. And we just started packing the back of this F-250, had a camper shell on it. We started packing it full of stuff, like all the way to the end. We just kept taking all the money that we earned. I never took a paycheck. She never took a paycheck. We put all the money right back into this back of this pickup truck and filled it full of merchandise and just kept going to these track events. And then we started going to out-of-state track events.
All right, guys, we got to take a quick break for our sponsor, Action Clutch. One of the most critical parts to any build is the clutch. Without a proper clutch, you won't be able to get that power to the wheels. No one wants to spend hundreds of dollars on a clutch that won't hold their power for more than a few races or spirited drives. Spirited drives, I think that's what I do all the time, man. This is why it's important to go with a kit that you know that you can count on, and that's why many people choose Action Clutch over the competition. Action Clutch is made here in the USA with parts sourced locally in Los Angeles. They have kits to replace from OEM clutches all the way up to 1200 horsepower and can be found everywhere from street cars, drag cars, even Formula Drift vehicles. If you guys check them out on Instagram, you can see all these cars that do rock Action Clutch, and there is a lot of Formula Drift vehicles on there, so you know that they can hold the power. Not only are they made here in the USA, but Action Clutch has made a strong focus this year to give back a percentage of sales to the community during these hard times, providing impacted families with groceries and other necessities. Contact Action Clutch today with whatever you need, and you will receive the family treatment. You guys can check them out at actionclutch.com or on Instagram at Action Clutch, or if you want to give them a call, you can give them a call at 323-269-6051, or you could email them sales@actionclutch.com. And if you need help choosing the right kit, just hit them up and they'll give you the family treatment. And before you check out, make sure you use code DTWD to get 15% off site-wide. Thank you to Action Clutch for supporting us, and thank you guys for listening. Now it's back to the show. Wait, so before we get any further, I want to paint this picture. Okay, so you have $500.
Got $500.
Guys, listen, $500. You decide to open an account with a company, and you get 4 helmets.
And I begged that company, by the way. Like, I begged them to give me a chance.
So you saw an opportunity. This is the biggest part in business, guys. Listen, you see an opportunity where you can fill a need or a service or what have you, which was the helmets at that time. People are asking you for parts. Okay, you're already going to these events, so you take the 500, buy the helmets, go back to the events, and it works. People buy the helmets, so you sell 4, and then you think, well, maybe I could sell 8. The 8 sell, or maybe I could sell 16. The 16 sell, and it just keeps going from there.
Spirals out of control. That's it, guys. I mean, like, just the company that worked with us, I just cold called them. I didn't like have a plan. I just called the guys. I'm like, hey, I want to sell your product. They're like, well, we need a buy-in, and buy-ins are part of life, right? You know, buy-in. I'm like, well, I can't buy in that much, but how about you give me a goal over two months or so, or whatever, and if I hit that goal, you keep the account open. So the guy was cool, and he didn't have a rep for his product in the area, so he was cool. He said, so I just need you to sell $12,000 in product by the end of the year. I'd sold 12,000 products with my partner by the end of March.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and then after that, that company's never asked me questions again. So that same company, we do probably $150,000 in business with them a year now.
Wow.
And they're happy about that. But yeah, so my partner, she joined up right at the end of 2015, early 2016 technically, and she developed all our logos. If you go to our website, I don't know if you've ever watched this, but over the last 4 years, our website's changed dramatically, and she has done all that technology, done all the branding, done all the merchandising. Like she makes all of our T-shirts, all this stuff is my partner. She does all of that work. Her name's Melissa, and that was the other key piece to it. Was I had the drive and the business knowledge, and I had someone helping who had the ambition, and basically she was fresh out of college at the time. And what I offered for her, because obviously we're not getting paid yet, I offered freedom of creativity to literally do what you want and sandbox as much as you want. Oh, here comes UPS.
That's the hustle, guys.
Oh my God! Hopefully he sees the sign. If he doesn't, I'll let him know too. I might go. I'm gonna let him know before he unloads everything. Hang on.
All right, go ahead. So, guys, while Ravi's getting the door right there, please just listen to the story, because I've heard this story 1,000 times from 1,000 different companies, and if all 1,000 can do it, then you can do it as well. It just takes that opportunity. You got to be able to see that opportunity when it comes out, man. And that's Ravi's seen the opportunity, and so you decided
I don't know what the fuck that is.
That sounds like
that's got to be the cable guy.
Oh shit!
We're expanding every day. They're cabling upstairs. Apparently, he found a wall to drill through.
It's all good. So,
Oh my
yeah, let's get back to the business part aspect of it.
Sure.
When when you were going to business school and everything like that and learning about business, did that come up about having a business partner, the positives and negatives of it?
Yeah, we talked a lot about it. So I went to it was actually University of Phoenix, which some places people hate that school, but that's actually it was a school that was quite a bit different than a lot of schools I've been to. Most schools you go to, you have assignments, you complete them, you turn them in, you get a grade.
Yeah.
University of Phoenix, it was interesting because the way they did education was everything was experience based. You actually went out and did stuff. It was very hands on. I don't think I hardly wrote any papers for that place. It was all hands on interaction inside the classroom and some of it outside the classroom. So yeah, we definitely went over the positives and negatives of having a business partner. As we all know, having business partners that are friends are tough. There's a lot of trust, and we've made it through 5 years now. And believe me, we have screamed at each other and argued and like tried to kill each other. But all of it was in the name of growing the business, though. None of it was ever at each other. It was like trying to make a decision has always been real tough because we're talking about. And it's gotten better over the years because initially we're talking about when we had at one point we had $1,000 in the bank account. We're like, yay, what do we spend $1,000 on? And that was a huge freaking argument, because we only had $1,000 and I wanted to do this and she wanted to do that. She wanted to do marketing and advertising and I wanted to buy more inventory. We're both right. We're both totally right. But how do you get through those hurdles? And that took a lot of learning how to compromise, a lot of learning how to talk to each other better. And, it was an amazing thing, and now we still do the same thing. Right now, we have, we're having $10,000 discussions. Like, what do we want to do with $10,000? Like, I want to buy a bunch of shit. And she's like, well, we spend it in marketing. I'm like, it hasn't changed. It's the same conversation, but at least we see it coming now, and it's incredible. You think that stuff would get better and easier over time, but it actually is the same conversation. But having a business partner, if there's anybody out there listening, having a business partner that will do a couple things for you to make it work. First one, if they'll starve for you to make it work, meaning they understand the value of not taking a paycheck in those introductory phases. Some people will say you have to be paying yourself. You have to be paying yourself. That's nice. The only way you can be paying yourself is if you'd have a really slow growth or if you decided to take a loan. That's really the only way. We never took a loan. We've 100% been debt-free the entire time. All the way to our current format, we're still debt-free. So yeah, neither one's wrong, but in the path we chose was a debt-free path. So in that case, we had to starve for approximately 2.5 years. I worked another part-time job just to make ends meet. I actually did fucking Postmates for a long time just because it was quick, easy cash that I could do when I'm not here. Yeah. And when I say here, I mean my little tiny 10 by 10 foot office that we had a long time ago. And same with her. She worked another a full-time job and just kind of moonlighted and did this at home. I mean, it's always been a hustle at home kind of job, as any of these entrepreneurial things are. You go home, you lock the door. That doesn't mean you stop. You keep going all night. I had somebody ask me. He apologized for contacting me late in the night and said, yeah, you probably get a few messages. I'm like, I have 289 unread messages on my phone. I have 783 unread emails from today. So yeah, I get a few messages. God. So yeah, if you don't use the proper means of communication, aka my Facebook page or calling me during business hours, the chances of me responding pretty freaking low.
God damn.
Melissa just redid my email box this morning because I had 9,000 unread emails. And I don't I mean, a lot of them I don't need to read, but there's probably some in there that I should have, but I couldn't get to them because it wasn't possible because I have 2-hour-long phone conversations with somebody about what kind of lug nuts they want. It's like,
oh, shit.
It's such a hard thing to manage, Frank. It's incredible. When I go from our first year of operation, we did $69,000 total. Mm-hmm. So, that was pretty cool. First year, whatever. Second year, we did 169. I'm like, sweet, we did over 100 grand. That's crazy. Third year, 369. Last year was 570. This year, we're already at 880.
Wow.
Like I said, we might bust $1 million this year, but to do $1 million in business means I've done $1 million in transactions, man. and only about 30% of them are online. So about 70% of them, Melissa and I have to deal with them in person or via email or via messenger or via some form of communication, phone calls. And like, it sounds silly. I mean, it's notepadded, dude.
Wow.
Like, the technology can't keep up. Like the CRMs, I've tried using CRMs. The CRMs are just messy. They don't work. This has always worked best for me, and everybody's got different systems. And to all those new guys out there, man, if you're going to be a business owner, have a business partner that supports you heavily and have some systems. Get systems in place early. So a lot of people don't realize that, like I get calls all the time. People think we're this giant freaking company. There is 2 people who work up front full time. I have 2 weekend warriors who only work Saturdays, and then I have 2 techs who work in the back who don't work up front. So essentially, all the parts stuff and all the orders is handled by 2 people.
Wow.
And I do about 70% of it. And Melissa tries to squeeze in 30% of it between all her duties. She has a crap ton of daily duties. She keeps up all the Instagram stuff, the Facebook, product development in terms of, she does all the merchandising, shirts and sweatshirts and all that everybody loves, and keychains. Comes up with cool programs like our Pit Pass that we just enacted. So when you buy stuff on our website, you get points now. And when you get free shit every time you hit markers,
Very cool.
Yeah, all that takes all this energy, but no one would possibly believe it's only 2 people spearheading all that.
Dude, how do you do it all?
Like I said, the white hair, man. Well, that to bring me back full circle is that's the stuff I learned from RC of what level of hustle is required to hit the targets I want to hit.
Yeah.
Like my ambition. My ambition doesn't have a cutoff per se. It's just I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing until I can't do it anymore. And when I can't do it, I'm going to hire someone else who can do it with me. And I'm going to find someone who's just as good as me to do it with me.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's a great attitude to have, bro.
I just sold something.
Money's
See, look
coming
at that.
in. I love it.
Yeah, you hear that? It's sold. I don't even know what the fuck it was.
So back
whatever.
In 2015, how were you so confident that the business was going to succeed?
Well, if I didn't succeed, I was going to fail. That's how it is, Frank. When you just lost your almost 6-figure job, I got kicked to the curb from my prior company before RC's, and I had when I joined RC up, I had a good savings set saved up, so I wasn't worried about working with RC. I told RC my conditions, and he met them, and we did it. And at the end of 1 year, I simply thought that the development didn't go the way I wanted it to, so I simply stopped. I did exactly 1 year, then I stopped working there, which is what we had talked about. And then I had very little left, and I made sure to pay off any minor debt that I had. And I ended up with about $500, and I essentially told myself, there's another piece of the story. I have a criminal freaking history. So I have a criminal ding on my record. I stole my own car, technically, and the state of Arizona made it stick somehow. I have no idea how the hell that happens, but I got stuck with a criminal ding on my record, which means no one would hire me. I couldn't get hired by anybody. I applied. Again, at that point I had like 9 years of retail experience, all upper management, and I was applying for jobs that are way beneath my skill set. And I think in 2 years of applying to jobs, the only job that I got a response from was from an insurance agency to sell insurance. I'm like, yeah, this isn't even my skill set. Like, that's why I ended up doing Postmates and stuff, because at least it was so far beneath my skill set that I didn't care. It wasn't like an insult. It was me just hustling. I was going and delivering food quick as I can, trying to make a couple grand a month off of it, But yeah, so in 2015, I realized I had to sink or swim. I either had to go work at McDonald's or I had to do something better. And I wanted to do something better, in all the years I'd worked at one company, I didn't really have any strings to pull because of working at just one company other than Honda. I worked for Honda back in the early 2000s, but I didn't want to go back to the dealership. And then, like I said, that retailer, I had connections there, but I was already ousted there. I wasn't going to go back. I could go to their competitor. They had a large competitor, but I realized I didn't want to work in a corporate environment ever again if that's how quickly someone would dismiss you for a health issue that was documented and on record. And it wasn't affecting business performance, actually. The worst part about it was the company I was working for, they were putting like $250,000 on the bottom line every year I was there. The store I was at was revenuing almost $4 million a year. That same store currently, with the new manager, they barely touched $2 million. So they were willing to lose $2 million in gross profits a year over firing me. I'm not even mad about it anymore. I'm just like I'm mad about it because I'm a manager, and that would be a terrible decision.
Yeah.
To give someone an extra day off because they actually needed it, or lose $2 million gross a year.
Man, that must have been a rough time.
It was a little rough. It was definitely a mental quagmire, a lot to think about, a lot of questioning yourself and what you're worth. And like I said, that's why RC helped me a ton, because he came flying. I'm like, dude, I need your help. I'm like, who the fuck needs my help? I just got fired from a badass job. And so RC definitely helped me, like I said, realize who I was, what I needed to do, and how I was going to do it. And once I had that figured out, which I learned over that year, that year with RC, I learned all those 3 things: who I was, what I need to do, and how I'm going to do it. Once I knew how I was going to do it, The rest was easy, man. You just do it. You go out and do it. You don't doubt yourself. Doubting yourself, you're going to fail.
All right, guys, we got to take a break for our sponsor, Manscaped. Autumn is in the air, and Manscaped is here to ensure that you don't carve your pumpkins when you're grooming. And by pumpkins, they actually mean your boys downstairs. In fact, Manscaped is on a mission to change the way that you approach caring for your balls. And everybody in the UK, Canada, and Australia, you could jump in on this as well, man. I've been getting a lot of DMs from Canada and Australia with dudes with bushes, and they're just like, dude, we need this hookup. We need this downtime with Downstar Manscaped code because our bushes are whack, bro. And I said, yo, there's nothing I could really do about it, but now we can, because Manscaped is offered in UK, Canada, and Australia. So you guys can cop the Lawnmower 3.0. You guys know this joint, 7,000 RPMs, 90-minute battery life. This thing is legit. But what they also do have is the new Weed Whacker, which is a safe skin technology, and it's a nose trimmer. And that's something that I do need. Manscaped, can you send me one of those, please? Because my nose hairs are insane, man. I bet you, guarantee right now, if I reach in there, I could yank out about 17 of them. They're about 3/4 of an inch long. But if you guys want, you can check out Manscaped and check out their crop care kit, which comes with the ever so popular ball deodorant. It comes with the crop cleaner, which is a body wash, which is pretty dope. I actually want to get some of that too. Manscaped, I need all this new stuff, dude. What's really good? But I need to get this crop cleaner body wash. Manscaped, what's up? I need it all, man. I even need these crop mop for the ball wipes, dude. I ran out. I usually carry some of the ball wipes in my wallet just in case you get off work and then the wife's like, hey, let's go out to dinner. I say, okay, let me wipe down my balls real quick. And also offered in the crop care kit is the foot duster, foot deodorant. It's a free gift. The cooling tea tree oil offers a pleasant experience for the stinkiest feet, allows you to take your shoes off in confidence. Man, this will take care of everything out there. I know there's a lot of dirty ass car guys out there that can use this, and you guys can even get this Manscaped little tote bag, put it all in there, go out to these race events, and you don't smell like dog shit when you're out there shaking hands with the fans. But guys, please make sure you check out manscaped.com, and once you do, use the code DTWD for 20% off plus free shipping. Don't do it for me, don't do it for anybody else. Do it for the girl that you're trying to feed that sausage to, because it smells like shit, bro. Reach your hand down there, jiggle it around, smell your hand. If it doesn't smell like Manscaped, you're messing up, man. Hit them up, manscaped.com, downtime with Downstar code DTWD, 20% off, free shipping, and go have a good night. So prior to you working with RC, did you ever think that you can accomplish what you've accomplished up to this day?
You know, prior to working with RC, I never envisioned ever owning a company or doing any of these things because I was so involved in the corporate scheme of things. I was so high up in a corporate community that I'd never envisioned. I was thinking, you know, I was getting my 6 figures. I was going to go get a nice big ass badass house in like Arcadia, someplace nice, have a family, and all that bullshit. You know, I never saw that right hand turn coming.
Yeah.
You know, I never saw that angular change in my lifestyle happening. And yeah, like I said, it was a big freaking challenge to overcome that expectation of myself. You know, of earning that big dollar and bring myself back down to earning nothing and figuring out how to do it and what my plans were and how was I going to pay for insurance or how was I going to pay for my, you know, my daily expenses and all that, figuring all that out on the fly. It was, and then deciding to do like things like Postmates and do side jobs while working on building something sustainable. Because I would say that this company, well, it's 5 years old. The company's 5 years old. It became fully self-sustainable about a year and a half ago. And when I mean fully self-sustainable, again, remember, since we took no debt on, me and Melissa were not taking paychecks. We started taking paychecks about a year and a half ago and transitioned into a profitability. Based on all my studies, I determined how much money we had to be making a month and how much net profit we had to be making every month to determine when we were going to pay ourselves.
Gotcha.
And how much, and you know what I expected. So we operate on about a 20% payroll. We don't pay ourselves more than 20% net. If that's not enough for us, we need to go hustle more.
Yeah.
That's all it is. If 20% is not enough, we're going to go hustle more.
Wow, dude, that's awesome, man. That's
And then we pay our people. Actually, I'm technically the lowest paid employee here. My 2 shop guys make a lot more than me, and that's okay because they do more work than I do in that sense. They're hustling, they're busting their asses off out there, you know.
Yeah.
So like that's and understanding all these concepts of how you treat your people right and take care of them, and they'll take care of you. We're doing things that no one else in our industry is doing. We're working on insurance. Think of how many small shops have insurance for their employees. Like we run workers' comp, we're running what's called alternative insurance, which is essentially it's a blanket for big coverage. So if you have big coverage but you have holes, it'll cover all your holes, kind of like Medicare does when you're older. We're working on major medical as well. Like we have all these goals that we're going to do to make sure that everyone who's here is a long-term member of the team, not just an employee. You know?
Yeah. How do you ensure that? What are some of the things that you do besides, insurance and things like that to keep the morale up and keep the employees happy?
Well, one of the big problems I see with entrepreneurial type places, one of the number one things I see, and I know every state's different, but in Arizona, it is illegal to not W-2 your employees. You cannot do that. You can't just 1099 people. 1099ing is for contractors. Contractors meaning the person's not doing the same thing every day, and they have a fixed term that to be met. So I know a lot of shops who treat everybody as 1099 contractors, which fucks the employee over twice. First off, they're not an employee, so they have no employee rights, which that's a problem. Secondly, they're not entitled to workers' comp because they don't work for you. They're a contractor. They work for themselves. And lastly, you're not taking taxes out for them. So at the end of the year, they have to have saved up a crap ton of money and predict what's going to happen. It's hard enough paying taxes on W-2s. We all know that. We never know if we're going to owe or not. You have to do all that math and figure it out. But by not doing that for your employees, that's a disservice to them. So I think that increases turnover rates at a lot of entrepreneurial, especially automotive shops, paint shops, stuff like that, where they treat everybody as contractors instead of saying, "Hey, you're an employee." I mean, I've worked 1099 jobs before, and I never felt like an employee at a 1099 job. I just felt like someone who kind of showed up and had to work and then was left, and no one gave a shit if I showed up or not.
Got you.
I think proper W-2ing is a first step for any employer to show that your employees are worth something. You're willing to spend that $60-$70 every 2 weeks to file for paychecks. It costs money to do W-2 people. It costs money to do payroll.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it yourself, but it's not worth it as a business owner. That's one thing. If anybody's a new business owner out there, do not do payroll yourself. It takes too much time. Pay someone. So making that step was huge. That way, everybody gets direct deposit. It's all out. All I do is I plug in the hours, pay the people. They accumulate vacation time. They accumulate sick time. These are important things that are the huge difference between working at a real job and working at a entrepreneurial mom and pop job is you don't get these things most of the time. So as folks get older and more experienced, I might add, and if they're not getting these small benefits, do you think they're going to stay? Retainment. You don't want to train someone for 3 or 4 years and have them bounce on you simply because they have a family now and they need insurance, they need security,
Yeah.
So I think it's important to develop security as the business grows, and that's been our top priority with all our other profits that we make, is to make sure that everyone's taken care of, that the business is secure, and our relationship with our employees are secure.
Dude, those are a lot of great points, man. So since you come from the corporate side and now you're more on the entrepreneur side of things, would you ever consider going back to the other side, or do you feel like that was a waste of time to even go down that path?
It definitely wasn't a waste of time. Like I said, I learned a crap ton from the 9 years in corporate. Would I go do it again? It would have to be a really specific scenario. Like, it'd have to be something I'm really passionate about. It's not a lot I can't think of that scenario, really, Frank. Like I said, my goal here is to keep building this place. My goal is to replace myself with someone who's equally driven and take more of a backseat role, more of a management-only role versus so much hands-on. The big problem we have is everybody knows this company because of my face and what I do. I'm trying to phase other people into those positions. I want to have other good qualified people here answering the phones, meeting customers up front. That way they get used to them, start transitioning that power shift over to other folks. So that way they know I'm not the only person here, that they can come and be with any of my employees and we'll take care of them,
Yeah.
That's my long-term goal, probably within the next 3 years, to have taken a more backseat role and more managerial type role, and make it a corporate environment, but a much more, I would never fire someone over medical. It's insane. It's not illegal in Arizona. That's the worst part. Arizona's a right to work state, so you can fire you for anything except for racial or religious, basically, is the only thing you can't get fired for. It's pretty insane. But no, that's my eventual goal, is to transform this into something large, to the point where I'm employing lots of people who need jobs. I want to have a bigger warehouse. We have a small warehouse right now. We want to have we want to have a 20,000 square foot warehouse, and we want to be selling parts and race gear all across the Southwest region. We sell currently everywhere in the U.S. I've even sold stuff in Japan and a couple other countries.
Very
and
cool.
yeah, and it's cool when I log on to social media and I'll see our shop being tagged from people I don't even know. Or I'll see we had an LMP1 car at the Sebring 24 Hours of Sebring 2 years ago that had one of our stickers on the side of it. I don't know who it was.
No way.
I have no idea. No idea. Just had a "We Don't Lift" sticker down the side of an LMP1 car, dude. That's a fast freaking car. And that advertisement space costs money. And I didn't do shit. I think the guy bought a helmet from us.
Yeah.
Because I send those stickers out with the helmet boxes. But I don't know, actually. I have no idea who it was. It was just that somebody in the paddock took a picture of it and sent it to me, and he already took off before give me the whole car, give me the whole car.
Yeah.
So I know who it is, but I just saw it was the back section of an LMP car. I was like, that's pretty cool. But to see that change and people recommending us over the big dogs that have been established for years, we have a lot of competition U.S.-wide, not only on the safety gear side, but the parts side of things. So why would you buy from us versus someone else? And what we've been making waves with is when you call us, you get a person every time. We don't really do any automated response type stuff, really, other than when we're closed. When we're closed, our automated response will kick over. But other than that, we're here. There's someone that'll pick up the phone. We put hands on every order. We try to be personalized. We're not. A lot of places are just big drop shippers. We're not. We're about 75% fulfillment in store.
Wow.
Yeah, and that number always tips the other direction every week. So let's say somebody orders, I don't know, a pair of shoes that I've never sold before, right? And then somebody orders another set next week. I'm just going to start stocking them. It's not a big deal. I just order 3 sets, put them on the shelf. So now that fulfillment number goes up a little bit, And it stays at about 75. I don't want it to be 100%. So if I get to 100%, that means I'm not bringing any new merch, So 75% is a good number for me. I always have about 25% of the stuff on tap and then another 75% in store. And we keep growing that number and growing that inventory in efforts of being able to take care of anybody,
Yeah.
We do a whole lot of filtration of brands. Like I've been threatening, I need to get a hold of you. We need to start getting some Downstar in my freaking room, man. Need to have some Downstar up on these cabinets and stuff, so people can check it out in person in Arizona,
Definitely.
But like for me, I don't sell low quality brands. I won't sell Megan. I'm sorry, Megan, I don't like your stuff. I find it fairly poor quality, and I've seen it break, and it's not for me. It's for other people. It's not for me, so we don't sell it. I don't want to go out there and slam brands, but we're really selective of who we sell.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, you guys want to do anything with Downstar, dude, please just let me know. I would love it.
You're on the list. Let's get it. When we get out of here, man, you just send me what you need, and we'll get stuff in here.
For sure. So let's go over some of the brands that you do offer, more towards like the Honda community. So what are the brands that you offer?
Well, I'll go from the Honda race community just because I know them a little bit better. Obviously, that's more my market. Eibach. I love Eibach. I love Eibach suspension, all their sway bars. PCI. Okay. PCI makes a lot of great stuff. We're direct with PCI. ASR. ASR is a very good company, again, suspension-wise, that we like to work with. We are about to jump in with K-Tune. I've been pushing it off just because I'm busy.
Gotcha.
But K-Tune will be coming soon. Obviously, Hasport. Hasport's like 4 miles down the road, man. I carry their mounts in stock. There's a stack of bushings behind that coffee cup there, a bunch of 65As or 62As right behind me there. We have Skykin, M Factory, Synchrotech, all those diff companies. Hondata, Xenochron, if you're familiar with the guys over at Xenochron, we do a lot with them. I think it's AEM, OBP for pedal boxes. They make a bunch of drop-in pedal box solutions. Man, it just keeps going on. Like all the Sparco stuff, Planted,
Very cool.
All the safety gear related stuff. Skunk 2. It's an ongoing list that just keeps growing. VC, Brian Crowler, we try to like the Honda stuff is definitely an area we cover quite well. I see, even though we have a lot more Subaru customers, I'd say these days, just because, typically speaking, I'd say most Honda owners are doing the work themselves, which is fine. Yeah. And they still come in to buy parts. Like they buy a lot of Fortunato from us. Fortunato is one of the suspension items that goes really fast. That's a great product for under $2,000. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to beat Fortunato for suspension, and so we sell a lot of that. There's a kit for a DC2 sitting on the floor there. So a lot of these brands, we were direct with them. We've worked with them through the racing community. Like I'm sponsored by Fortunato. I actually sold them though before I was sponsored. I had them on our race car. They're amazing. We've won a couple championships on that coilover, and they're out of Virginia. I love working with companies who are from the U.S. So it's really awesome that I have tried to get Ryan to hook me up with some iBox, but they stopped making the R2s for the NSX before I switched over to Fortunes. I had KWs on before it. but unfortunately discontinued the NSX stuff before I could get a hold of any of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
Really wanted R2s, man.
tell me a little bit about that NSX, man.
Oh, the NSX. It's right behind that door. It's in 1,000 fucking pieces. It'll be coming back probably end of the year with some pretty significant updates to it. I can't talk too much about them now, but I promise you when we can, we'll definitely get back on the horn with you guys. Maybe walk a camera out there, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually been thinking about taking a trip out there. We've been starting to do daily vlogs, and RC's always going out there every other weekend, headed to Phoenix because he still has stuff to tie up over there. I'm thinking about taking a trip with him when things slow down a little bit, and then just go visit a bunch of shops. I'd love to stop by for sure. All right, guys, we got to take our last break for our newest sponsor, Automotive. Piecing together a fuel system for your build can be a difficult task. Luckily, Automotive has your back with everything from replacement fuel pumps to fuel systems that will support 3,000 horsepower. Automotive's engineers have developed a solution for your build regardless of power level. If you're looking to make the switch over to E85, they have every part that you need to build a system that will be there for you when you need it the most. And if you need a custom fuel system for your daily that turned into a project car, no problem. If you guys have a daily that has turned into a project car, just leave it in the comments. I know we should have like 1 million comments after that because everybody has a daily that turned into a project car. Then you need a new daily, then you need a new project car, then you need a new daily, and it's just a vicious cycle. But when that does happen, make sure you hit up Automotive and you can get one of their brushless pump lines. New line that just came out. It's a quieter pump, less heat, and it lasts longer than traditional pumps. These range from 1,000 horsepower all the way up to 3,000 with 10 gallons per minute. Now, if you don't need anything to the 3,000 horsepower mark, they do have the Stealth 340, which is the most popular pump that they do offer. Fits in most factory locations, high horsepower pump, and it's a 700 horsepower EFI setup, or 1,000 if you got a carburetor, or if you don't even know what you need, or if you need something crazy out of this world, you can hit up their customization shop and they can get you a fuel setup for any build, any style, anything that you need. And if you have a race team and you're on the downtime right now and you want to get all your parts ran through and make sure that you're all set for the new season, you could check out their rebuild program, just like Matt Field, the pro drifter, does. Send all your stuff to them, they'll go through it, get it back, slap it in, go win some races. Now, thank you guys for listening, and back to the episode.
Yeah, if you can plan something in like December, that's probably the best time, because I think we should have it running by then. And you can ask RC, he knows what's going on, but we can't talk about it on the mic yet.
No problem.
Yeah, it should be pretty dope. We're just getting ready for Super Lap coming up in a few months in March.
In March, right?
Yeah, March 5th through the 7th, they finally solidified the days over at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, the big Formula One track. We've been going there three times, or every year for the last 3 years. It's the equivalent of Week Fest for racing, for grassroots racing. You know, you've got Grid Life Touring Cup shows up, the North American Time Attack Series is running, which is Super Lap technically, and you got usually Lone Star Drift comes out. We had a lot of spectators last time. We had like 3,000 paid spectators, which for Time Attack, that's a crap ton. I mean, there's pictures of the paddock full and people walking down. I mean, I'm sitting there signing autographs, and I'm like, I'm a nobody here, man. Like, I'm not anybody, but you want me to sign the picture of my car? Cool, yeah, knock yourself out, man. You know, it was a pretty real time. You know, it was pretty awesome. And Austin, I don't know if you've ever been to Austin, but dude, you should come out. It's a pretty freaking cool event, and Austin's an amazing city to have an automotive event in. They got 6th Street, which is kind of like going to New Orleans or something, just fucking bars down the road, and just a good old time. Lots of music. It's a fun time. It's definitely the premier Time Attack venue in North America. Let alone probably one of the largest motorsports things that happens in America too. That's again driving related, not so much show related. I don't know if you ever heard of Gatebill?
No.
When you get off here, go look at Gatebill. It's a European. It's a Gatebil. It's a European drifting and racing festival, I guess you might say. And you're talking like 40, 50, 60,000 people show up to these weekend events to watch racing, and it's because it's treated in a very similar manner to Grid Life does their festivals. It's very similar to Grid Life festivals, except just on a large ass scale. It's insane.
Wow.
You got to check it out, man. Like, go on Vimeo because they do such a good job of documenting it on Vimeo. If you go to YouTube, the videos are just de-res so bad, but Vimeo has all the 4K videos.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The track's called Rustogan. It's that they usually do that, and it's what I would love to see the automotive community get to in America. Granted, America will always have a little bit more focus on the safety aspects of things, so there won't be anybody hanging out of cars, which is okay by me.
Yeah.
But just seeing all these people have a place to go to celebrate motorsports is pretty freaking awesome to me. And like I said, that's something I want to be around for and be involved in always.
Have you been to a Grid Life event before?
I have been to one. Next year we're planning on going to Alpine Horizon. Hopefully, if COVID lifts, the COVID restrictions lift. They did it this year, but since there's no spectators and stuff, we didn't make the trip. A, because we didn't have a car, and B, because bringing a vendor booth out for a non-spectator event just doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
So our plan is definitely to have Grid Life Alpine Horizon Festival on our calendar. Hopefully, like I said, we'll be able to attend safely, and hopefully everybody in America is doing better, and it'd be a good time because I saw the first event of it, and it looked really good. So we want to definitely participate and show our support for a very fast-growing grassroots movement that Chris and Adam and all the entire crew have worked on really hard for quite a few years. And they probably don't remember, but maybe they do. I actually have known of that event for a long time before. Like I used to go to Western Honda Michigan meet, and I live in Arizona, so you can see that's quite a trek.
Oh, wow.
I used to go drive all the way over to Western Honda Michigan meet and ITR Expo, and that's how I met all those folks. But I was pretty quiet back then. I didn't have the business. I just showed up to drive and went home. I didn't really talk to a lot of people, But I remember watching it. The idea of Western Honda Michigan meet kind of morph into like something separate, and then turn bigger, and then turn into kind of, in my eyes, turn into Grid Life. It just from Western Honda Michigan meet, you could kind of see the need for this other type of event, and it just kind of like appeared, and all of a sudden it was there. And I don't know if that's actually how it happened. That's how it sure appeared to me. Is that it was kind of founded by folks from the Western Honda Michigan meet, and they got together and decided they wanted a bigger festival kind of deal, and then Grid Life kind of just showed up and gave everybody access to, grassroots levels of time attack, like Global Time Attack. See, Global Time Attack's always been on the West Coast, so Grid Life did really well on the East Coast. GTA has only gone back east a few times to New Jersey, I think, for the most part. Other than that, it's usually Atlanta's as far as it goes. So it made it harder to participate, obviously, if you're an East Coaster, and vice versa, why a lot of GTA folks are all West Coasters, because we all grew up on the West Coast doing it. And it's really cool to see all of that connecting at Super Lap Battle, because Super Lap Battle is not GTA, it's not Grid Life, it's North American Time Attack. Mm-hmm. It's a grouping, so you get all these fast people from Grid Life, all these fast people from GTA, all coming and compete together. It's pretty cool.
And you said that's going to be in Austin?
That's Austin, Texas, Circuit of the Americas, March 5th through the 7th, I believe.
Wow. Maybe, dude. Maybe we can make it out. Man. That would be sick, dude.
Check it out, man. We're actually doing We Don't Lift is in charge of all the printed brochures that they send out. So maybe we'll have to chat, see if you want to get in on that, and we'll get you a booth if you guys want to show up.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Even if it's not me, maybe RC could head out.
RC would be dope, and it's a good time. Hopefully we can. I hope you can both make it out. Like, we're actually closing the shop. That's how much this event means to us. We're closing the shop for 7 days. In 7 days, I'm going to lose $20,000.
Oh, shit.
But we're closing the shop to do it because it's worth it. The event is worth it. Being ground level with these guys and helping them grow has immense implications for the future, in terms of motorsports. So,
dude, I love it, man.
Excited.
How many shows do you guys do a year as far as setting up a vendor space?
If we do a full year, like I said, we won't use this year as an example because this is a joke.
Yeah.
2017 was our last full year, I think, and we did 4 or 5 time attack events, and then we did probably 10 or 11 road course events, and probably another 4 or 5 shows of some type, like hot import nights and things like that. Got you. What did you find was your best event that you went to? The local races are the most profitable by far, because most of the folks locally there's a lot of widespread different skill levels, so different levels of preparation, so different needs. Whereas Global Time Attack and Time Attack events, most people have what they need already to be competing at that level. But we are there with fluids and stuff like that, so we have a lot of emergency needs. Or if you fail tech because your helmet's out of spec, we got helmets, so you're good to go. So we do help a lot of people there, but it's not for Time Attack. It's more about the competition for us, and then showing people that what we can do with this 30-year-old chassis it's got 200,000 miles on it, man. It's an old ass chassis. It's still got all original control arms and ball joints and everything. It's incredible how well they hold up.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
there's a couple quick NSXs that show up, and you got like Amir Ventatu. Amir is fast as shit. He's got that K series powered NSX that I think makes 500 or 600 horsepower. I believe he just put a six-speed sequential in there finally because he was having a lot of problems with K series gearboxes doing K series things, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see him. He dominated when they went up north to the Ridge Motorsports Park up north. It was really cool to see what people are doing with these chassis, and it's awesome to still be involved in motorsports with these chassis. You know, most of the competition these days is not in 30-year-old sports cars. It's in like 1LE Camaros. There's a lot of guys who show up with ACR Vipers and stuff like that, you know, Porsches and some $100,000, $200,000 cars. And we're sitting over here in our $35,000 junkyard NSX and throwing down laps, you know,
Yeah.
and beating people, you know, getting top tens quite pretty frequently. We used to be on the podium all the time, but it's escalated so far past when we started. So that's what this year is about. This year was off, so our plans in the back here are to get us back in that top 5 range, hopefully,
I love it, man.
with very little changes, just refining and tweaking.
Very cool. Ravi, sounds like you have a lot of great stuff going on over there, brother.
Every day is a beautiful day over here, my friend.
Dude, I love it, man. Have you always had that mentality about things?
I don't think so. I think definitely cancer scared me awake.
Yeah.
That definitely scared me awake pretty good. I had a pretty nasty car accident in '09 that I technically died on site, and I was revived in the hospital. So that one also kind of scared some life into me, you know. So I've been through enough stuff that I might have a little different aspect on life than a lot of folks. I generally don't let anything bother me anymore. Like, I just don't care, and it's not in a negative way. I just don't care. It doesn't impact me. What impacts, like, the next 5 minutes of my life don't dictate the next 5 years. You know,
Yeah.
what happened 5 years ago doesn't really have much sense on what's going to go forward. You know, and just keep pushing, keep finding new ways to accomplish what you're trying to do. Your goals can be across the board. They might be a company. They might be working at the company you're at. Maybe you want to have a family. Maybe maybe you want to have a race car. Maybe you want to, go work in the soap industry. I don't freaking know, but
Yeah.
you need to find out what it is that makes you happy and just go enjoy it, man. And life's short and you don't have a lot of time, man. So you just got to keep enjoying, get out there and see the world if you can, travel. I stress to so many people, man, get out of the U.S.
Yeah.
I see people talking about the politics right now, and I've lived all over the world and seen politics from all sides: socialism, communism, democracies, republics, all across the board, dictatorships. And I can tell you, there's no one answer. There's not. You have to mix this stuff up a little bit. And the more polarized that we get, the harder it is. So I tell people, go travel, and I don't mean go to Mexico or Canada. I mean,
Yeah.
go to a different continent and go there with an open mind, and absorb what you can. Go to Hong Kong, go to Switzerland, go to Europe, any place else in Europe. Go to the Middle East. So be careful when you go to the Middle East.
Yeah.
Go someplace safe. Look at where you're going. Be smart. Don't be stupid. Respect their cultures when you're there. Don't go there and be an American. Go there to learn who they are and try to fit in a little bit and try to adapt your own mindset to see how they see things. And I don't mean, like I said, it's everything's with a grain of salt. Like, I love the Middle East. I love going back there, and it's a wonderful place. It's beautiful. There's a lot of great things about culture there. The way they treat women, though, is not one of them. So that doesn't mean go adapt everything that learn everything that they learn and take it as your own. Make sure to absorb what's good, and maybe teach someone while you're there, something that that's good. I definitely like to see more people in America having an more open mind, and that filters all the way back to cars.
Yeah, definitely. Damn, Ravi, I love it, bro. I'm excited to make my way out there, dude, so we could have a conversation in person for sure, man.
For sure. Love it, dude.
Dope, bro. So before we get out of here, where can people find you at?
I am found all over, but the easiest way is on our website, which is wdlracing.com or wedon'tlift.com. Will both take you to my website. You can obviously give us a phone call, 512-766-5438. Instagram is We Don't Lift, We Don't Lift Ops, We Don't Lift Mel. All the employees have a We Don't Lift _ something here, so you can find us all real quick. Facebook, We Don't Lift, it's all the same. Or you go to any Arizona track event, you'll almost find us with some small guarantee. And been threatening to get out to IBAC one of these days with a car. Keep trying to get down there.
Hell yeah! Hopefully next year, man.
Yeah, like I said, next year is kind of, we're hoping, we're spending a lot of time working on business development this year to make sure that next year when we hit the ground running, hopefully we have a little more flexibility in schedule and like I said, we've been staffing up, trying to find people who can cover for us and let us get back to enjoying this car scene a bit more. That we all are involved with it, nice and deep, and it's been a rough year on it. So
Yeah, I think next year is going to be a great year, man. It has to
I
be.
hope so. I mean, yeah, if we, I don't know, man. don't want to curse it yet, but I feel like it could be a hold my beer and watch this year. You know, it could be.
Well, just imagine what
2020 was rough. Hold my beer.
2020 looks so promising in 2019, man.
It looked like it was going to be solid, but here we are. One little issue has been spiraling out of control, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. It's been tough on everybody, real tough.
Well, one positive thing is we'll just never forget this year, man. You always remember where you were in 2020.
In 20 years, people are going to look back and read history books about 2020 like, what the fuck happened?
We don't even know, dude.
We have no explanation for this.
It just happened.
The documentaries will be some of the shortest documentaries ever because no one will know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Some shit went down, some things happened, stuff was said, and Oompa Loompa was in. Anyhow.
Ravi, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Frank.
All right,
Thanks
brother.
for having us on, man.
Thank you.